Since the beginning of time, long before your name was ever spoken on this earth, a sacred mystery has echoed through the ages, hidden not in books, nor carved into stone, but quietly written on the hands of a chosen few. If you've ever looked down at your palm and noticed a crescent moon, or the letter M marked into your skin, you may have dismissed it as chance. But what if it's more? What if it's a sign that your existence is no accident, that you were born with a seal placed upon you by heaven itself? You may have always felt it, the sense that you don't quite fit the world around you, that while others are content living on the surface, your soul longs to dive deeper. You've questioned what others accept, sensed things you couldn't explain, and carried a quiet fire in your spirit that refused to go out. These are not random traits. They are clues. Clues that you belong to something greater, something unseen, powerful, and holy. Those who carry this mark are part of a silent army, souls chosen not for fame, but for spiritual purpose. You walk a path of light through a world cloaked in shadows, often unnoticed, but never without impact. This calling is not loud. It comes in whispers, through trials, through moments that tested you beyond reason. But in each one, something deeper awakened in you. And the more pain you've endured, the more truth you've uncovered. That truth is this: you were not made to be ordinary. You were made to carry the light, to protect it, to live it. And now, whether you are ready or not, the time has come to remember who you are. Archangel Michael, the commander of heaven's army, is not calling upon the masses. He is calling upon the marked. He is calling upon you, the crescent moon, the M. They are not decorations. They are divine signatures. If they are on your hand, it means heaven has written something on your life that the world cannot erase. Michael's call is not one of noise or fear, but of quiet power. It is the invitation to step into your assignment, to protect, to guide, to illuminate. You've felt it, haven't you? The weight of this unseen responsibility, the sense that your presence alone shifts the energy in a room, that others look to you even when you don't fully understand why, that your life has been filled with challenges that seem too purposeful to be random. You've survived things that should have broken you, and somehow, your faith only grew stronger. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are the fingerprints of the divine. And if this message is reaching you now, it's not by mistake. It's by divine alignment. You are being reminded of what your soul already knows. You were chosen. You were set apart. And the time to doubt that is over. The time to hide is over. The world is shifting, and heaven is calling forth those who carry the mark to stand, to shine, to step fully into their assignment. If what you're hearing resonates with something deep inside you, if it feels like a door within your spirit has just opened, then don't let this moment pass you by, like this message to declare your alignment with your purpose. Subscribe to the channel, so you never miss another word meant to guide your soul. And if you're ready to walk in your truth, declare it in the comments below with the words, "I was chosen before I was born." This isn't just a comment. It's a spiritual declaration, a step of faith into your destiny. Because from this moment forward, everything is about to shift. The next chapters of this journey are not theories. They are blueprints. They will show you what you've always sensed, but never fully understood. And if you stay with me, you'll begin to see the full picture of who you really are. Now let us begin with the very first mission written into your soul. The sacred calling to protect others through the power of your energy. There are some who walk through life carrying invisible armor, shaped not of steel, but of trials, You may be one of them. Perhaps your life, from an early age, has been marked by pain, loss, or loneliness. But let this truth settle deep within you. Those hardships were never punishments. They were preparation, a sacred training designed not by man, but by heaven itself. Every heartbreak you survived, every season of silence you endured, every moment you felt unseen, these were not meaningless. They were crafting you, slowly and silently, into a vessel of strength, clarity, and light. You were not abandoned. You were being forged. This is what it means to be chosen, not to be given an easy road, but to be refined through fire, so your very presence becomes a shelter for others. The first mission of those marked by the crescent moon or the letter M is not loud or visible. It's not a grand battle or a public miracle. It is something far more subtle and far more powerful. The ability to protect through energy. Yes, you may not even realize it, but your spirit emits something that others feel. You walk into a room, and without saying a word, people feel safer. Their anxiety softens. Their hearts slow down. This is no accident. This is spiritual defense. You are a lighthouse in human form. There are souls walking this earth who, in their darkest hour, needed someone who carried light, not to preach, not to fix, but just to be. And you, chosen one, were sent to be that stillness in the storm. But how is this possible? How can your presence carry such power? The answer lies in who walks beside you, even when you feel alone. Archangel Michael has been with you longer than you've known his name. He does not arrive with thunder or fire. He whispers in the moments you almost gave up. He stirs your intuition when danger nears. He sends signs, divine coincidences, timely dreams, bursts of clarity that appear just when you're about to lose your way. And each time you were protected, each time you were guided without understanding how, it was not chance. It was him. He has always been near, walking silently beside you, training you not only to survive, but to shine. Many who carry this mark have experienced moments that felt like impossible tests, periods of intense grief, abandonment, or complete emotional exhaustion. And yet somehow, they kept going, not just surviving, but deepening. This is what spiritual warriors go through. They are not trained in temples. They are trained in life. Your life has been your classroom. And now, your energy is your shield. Others sense this about you, even if they can't explain it. Friends come to you in crisis. Strangers confide in you unexpectedly. People say, "I don't know why, but I feel better around you." What they feel is your light. Not loud, not flashy, just steady, just present. You may not even understand what they're responding to, but it's real. You have become a spiritual anchor, a resting place for the weary, and that is no small thing. But with this gift comes a sacred responsibility. You cannot pour light into others if your own flame is running low. Just as soldiers sharpen their swords and protect their armor, you must care for your energy. This mission is not just about giving, it's about maintaining. Archangel Michael doesn't just train warriors to fight, he trains them to endure, and endurance requires discipline. You must protect your spirit with daily connection to the divine. Prayer, stillness, solitude. You must recognize what drains you, people, environments, even thoughts, and create space from them without guilt. You are not called to carry every burden. You are not responsible for saving everyone. Your job is to keep your own energy aligned, so that when someone in need steps into your orbit, you have something real to offer. Compassion without boundaries leads to burnout. Love without wisdom invites spiritual exhaustion. You are light, yes, but you are also human. And even the strongest light needs fuel. So let me ask you, have you been caring for the light within you? Or have you been giving so much to others that you've forgotten your own soul needs tending too? Have you noticed that people turn to you when they're lost, not just because of what you say, but because of who you are? That too is part of your mission. But you must protect the vessel. The truth is, chosen one, your journey has never been ordinary. Even your struggles have had purpose. The isolation, training, the heartbreak, refinement, the ache for something more. A reminder that you were never meant to settle into this world's shallow rhythms. You were meant to carry heaven's frequency on earth, to vibrate with calm in a chaotic world, to stand steady, not because you're perfect, but because you've been through enough to understand what truly matters. And now, you are being reminded. You are not weak. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are rising into the fullness of your first assignment, to be a quiet protector, a transmitter of peace, a living testimony that light doesn't always shout, it simply stays lit. If your spirit is resonating with this truth, honor it. Reflect on the times you were kept safe for no clear reason. Remember the people who turned to you even when you felt empty. Begin today to reclaim your own energy as sacred ground. And know that in doing so, you are aligning with the purpose for which you were born. This is your mission. Not just to survive, not just to heal, but to become a force that shields others without them even knowing it. And if you're ready to step deeper into your spiritual assignment, then stay with me. Because what comes next will reveal a new dimension of your calling, one that involves direct confrontation with the darkness that has always tried to silence your light. There is something about your presence that cannot be ignored. Even when you say nothing, even when you try to blend in, something about you stirs the air. Some are drawn to you instantly, without understanding why. Others seem unsettled, even resistant to your very existence. And perhaps you've wondered why that happens, why you often feel misunderstood, avoided, or even targeted, despite your good intentions. The answer is simple and profound. Your light reveals shadows. When you walk into a room, your soul does more than arrive. It illuminates. And in doing so, it exposes what others have buried. Some people aren't ready to face their pain, their guilt, or their lies. And so, when they meet someone whose spirit shines with truth, they recoil. Not from you, but from what you reflect back to them. This is not a curse. It is confirmation. You were not born to be liked by everyone. You were born to wake souls up. You were born to disturb the darkness. This is the second mission of the chosen ones, to fight directly and unapologetically against darkness in all its forms. Not with weapons, not with anger, but with truth, with discernment, and with unwavering courage. Those marked with the crescent moon or the letter M carry within them a fierce intuition. You feel things others ignore. You sense when something is off, even when all the facts appear fine. You know when someone is lying, even if they smile. You feel energy shift, sometimes before words are even spoken. And that's not paranoia. That's spiritual sensitivity, one of your greatest gifts. Because of this, you've likely found yourself standing alone in rooms full of people, feeling the weight of what no one else seems to see. You've spoken truths that others were too afraid to acknowledge. You've questioned what others accepted blindly. And for that, you've paid a price: rejection, betrayal, exclusion. But do not confuse your pain for punishment. It is refinement, No true warrior of light has ever been trained in comfort. You are not being broken. You are being sharpened. The pain you've endured, the betrayals, the dark nights of the soul, the moments of unbearable silence, they are not evidence of your weakness. They are signs that you were being prepared. Every time you rose again after falling, you became stronger. Every time you kept loving after being hurt, you became brighter. Every moment you chose forgiveness over bitterness, clarity over confusion, purpose over comfort, you became a threat to the darkness. And the darkness knows it. But to carry this mission, to walk with this kind of light, requires more than good intentions. It demands discipline. The kind of discipline that says, I will guard my energy like sacred fire. I will know my weaknesses, so the enemy cannot exploit them. I will not allow fear to rule my decisions. I will not stay silent when truth is needed. I will not run when the calling gets heavy. You must understand yourself deeply, your triggers, your wounds, your tendencies, so the darkness has no room to enter through confusion or shame. You must protect your light through daily spiritual practice. Prayer, meditation, stillness. You must separate yourself from toxic people and places that drain you, even if it feels lonely. And most of all, you must say yes to your mission. Stop hiding. Stop pretending you're not powerful. The more you shrink, the more the shadows grow. You weren't created to hide. You were created to shine, even when it costs you everything. So let me ask you, warrior of light, have you ever felt punished simply for telling the truth? Have you been labeled too sensitive, too intense, or too much when all you did was speak what others refused to admit? Have you walked through seasons of loss, isolation, and injustice only to come out with more clarity than before? Then hear this. You are not a victim. You are in training. You are being shaped to carry something most people can't. And the battle you're fighting isn't always external. Sometimes it's the battle within. To not give in to bitterness. To not surrender to fear. To not numb the pain. Every time you choose love over hate, faith over doubt, truth over denial, you win. And with every small victory, the light grows. The world needs warriors like you. Not perfect ones, not loud ones, but real ones, honest, faithful, unshakable. And you are not alone. You've never been alone. Archangel Michael, the leader of heaven's armies, walks beside you still. Every step, every battle, every wound. He fights for you. He fights through you. So if this resonates, if something inside you is rising, burning, breaking free, then remember, your life is not falling apart. It's being rearranged for battle. You are being equipped for a war that cannot be seen but is absolutely real. And your presence in that war is not optional. It is essential. And now, as you stand in your truth and prepare for what's next, let's talk about another sacred assignment. The quiet, tender one that happens not in war, but in stillness, guiding lost souls back to the light. You may not realize it, but your presence alone may have already saved someone's soul. Not because you performed miracles or spoke powerful words, not because you solved their problems or knew all the right things to say, but simply because you were there, with peace in your eyes, stillness in your energy, and a heart that radiated compassion. This is your third mission as one who is marked by the crescent moon, or the letter M, to guide lost souls. Not by force, not by brilliance, but by being a living, breathing reminder that light still exists in this world. You were never meant to be loud. You were meant to be steady. You don't have to stand on a stage or lead a movement to fulfill your purpose. Your quiet presence has the power to change the atmosphere of a room. Your calm, your care, your clarity. It softens people. It makes them feel safe. It helps them remember a part of themselves they thought they had lost. And that's not something you can fake. It comes from the deep work you've done inside. It comes from the sacred pain you've transformed into wisdom, from the empathy born of your own wounds. People may not understand why they're drawn to you, but they are. Strangers feel comfortable confiding in you. Friends come to you when their world is unraveling. They might say things like, "I just feel better around you," or "You always know how to make me feel calm." And maybe you've brushed those comments off before. But don't. Hear them. Receive them. That is the evidence of your energy doing what it was always meant to do. Guide, heal, anchor. You are what some call a beacon soul, a spiritual lighthouse in a stormy world. When others are lost in confusion or pain, your light becomes a point of reference. You may not have all the answers. You may not even feel strong some days. But your light is not about perfection. It's about presence. And your presence matters more than you know. But with this gift comes a quiet challenge. The more open and compassionate you are, the more vulnerable you become to the energy of others. You may have noticed that after helping someone, you feel strangely tired, or that you carry sadness that doesn't feel like your own, or that your spirit feels heavy even when your life seems fine. This is the cost of unguarded empathy. You are absorbing more than you realize. You must understand this. Your light is sacred, but it is not infinite unless you care for it. You cannot pour endlessly into others without first tending to your own soul. The same way a healer must wash their hands between patients, you must cleanse your spirit between encounters. Prayer is not just a practice, it is a shield. Stillness is not laziness, it is restoration. Boundaries are not coldness, they are wisdom. You are not here to save everyone. You are not here to carry pain that is not yours. Even angels know how to step back. Your mission is not about being available to all people at all times. It's about being deeply present when it truly matters. When someone is ready to shift, to awaken, to return to the light, let yourself rest. Let yourself cry. Let yourself heal too. Because when you are filled and whole, your presence becomes even more powerful. You begin to radiate not from a place of effort, but from overflow. And that kind of light changes people without a word. Have you ever noticed how people turn to you in their darkest moments? Have you felt a quiet knowing when someone needed hope, even before they spoke? Have you carried burdens that didn't belong to you simply because your heart couldn't turn away? If so, then you are already walking in your third mission. And the world is better because you do. Remember, healing doesn't always come through action. Sometimes it flows through silence, through a look, a gesture, a presence that says, "You're not alone." And that's exactly what you are to so many. Proof that love, peace, and hope are still alive. The chosen ones are not saviors. They are reminders. They are mirrors. They are quiet guides who help others remember who they are and what they're here to do. You don't need to be perfect to lead others home. You just need to be real, to be rooted, to be willing. And as you continue walking in this purpose, it becomes clear. Your mission is not only about guiding individuals, it's about holding spiritual balance in a chaotic world. Your next calling will ask you not just to guide, but to hold the line, to maintain the energetic harmony of the earth itself. In times of crisis, some people panic, others run, but a rare few remain still, grounded like a mountain that refuses to be moved. no matter how fierce the storm. If you've ever been that person, the calm voice in chaos, the steady soul when others fall apart, then you may already be walking in your fourth mission, to maintain the energetic balance of the world. This is not a mission that seeks recognition. It is not loud, not glamorous, but it is one of the most sacred assignments given to those marked by the crescent moon or the letter M. The world is full of noise, fear, and instability. Systems break, people lash out, darkness creeps in unnoticed. But when all else begins to crumble, those who carry the divine seal do not collapse. They anchor. Not because they have all the answers, but because they carry a truth so deep, it holds them upright even when everything around them falls. They trust in divine order. They feel, with unwavering certainty, that nothing happens outside of heaven's design. That even in destruction, there is the seed of renewal. You, chosen one, may not see yourself as a leader, but others do. They come to you when their worlds fall apart. They seek your energy when they feel lost, not because you promise to fix things, but because you carry a sense of quiet knowing that there is more to this life than what's seen, that something greater is always at work, even when we don't understand it. You radiate this balance because you've earned it. You've been through storms. You've seen what it means to lose and still remain. And in your survival, you became more than strong. You became sacred. True leadership, especially spiritual leadership, does not command. It inspires. It does not impose. It invites. You are not here to dominate others, but to model what it looks like to trust God when everything else shakes. Your life becomes a testimony that says, yes, the storm is real, but so is the anchor. And in that truth, people find their footing again. But this role is not without pain. Often, those who shine the brightest are the most misunderstood. Your stillness may be mistaken for coldness. Your clarity may make others uncomfortable. People may try to tear you down simply because they don't understand your peace. But that, too, is part of the assignment. Just as prophets of old were rejected, so too will those who carry light be resisted. But you do not need the world's approval. You serve something far higher. Remember this: the energy you hold is not just for yourself. It ripples outward. When you stay grounded, others begin to settle. When you speak truth, confusion begins to lift. When you carry faith, doubt begins to fade. And when you refuse to be moved by fear, others remember their courage too. You are not just stabilizing yourself, you are holding space for the collective. You are what we call an energetic pillar, a spiritual post. You carry within you a vibration that helps keep the world from tipping too far into chaos. And even if no one ever thanks you for it, heaven sees, Michael sees. You were assigned this role not because you are better, but because your soul remembers how to stand when it matters most. Your strength is not in your words. It's in your frequency. It's in your silence. It's in your presence. Have you noticed that people look to you when everything is falling apart? That even in your own moments of fear, you're the one calming others? That somehow, even when you don't have the answers, you carry a deep peace that people trust? This is no accident. This is your mission in motion. You are carrying the torch when others can't. You are holding the line between fear and faith, despair and hope, shadow and light. And you don't have to do anything more than be who you already are. You don't need to fix the world. You just need to stay connected to your center, to your creator, to your purpose. That alone sends a powerful wave into the spiritual atmosphere, reminding the world that balance is still possible, that God is still in control, that light has not left. So if you've ever wondered why people seem to rely on you in their darkest hours, if you've questioned why you're always the strong one, let this be your answer. You were chosen to hold space for others, not with loud declarations, but with quiet conviction. And because you've answered this call, the world around you holds together just a little longer, just a little stronger. And now, dear one, as you continue standing firm in the face of chaos, heaven has another assignment waiting, one that asks you not only to maintain balance, but to become a source of transformation, a guide not just for the present, but for the future. It's time to explore the next sacred mission written into your soul, to awaken transformation in others by walking through your own. Not everyone understands what it means to live a life marked by spiritual transformation. But if you carry the crescent moon or the letter M on your palm, chances are you do. Because from the beginning, your life has not followed the typical path. You've walked through fires others never knew you faced. You've endured seasons of pain, loss, and loneliness that seemed too heavy for one soul. But what if all of it, every heartbreak, every closed door, every dark night of the soul, was never meant to destroy you, but to transform you? This is your fifth mission, to undergo sacred transformation, not just for yourself, but to awaken other souls still trapped in fear, doubt, and darkness. Your life is the flame, but your transformation is the torch. The reason it's been so hard is because your journey is meant to carry weight, to have meaning beyond survival. You were not just chosen to endure, you were chosen to evolve. Every trial you've faced has stripped away old versions of yourself. The betrayal taught you discernment. The silence taught you to listen to your spirit. The isolation became the womb of your rebirth. You've learned to find hope in hopelessness, to find clarity in confusion, to rise again even when your strength was gone. And in doing so, you've become more than a survivor. You've become sacred evidence that healing is real. You didn't just read about transformation, you lived it. And because of that, you now carry a frequency that speaks louder than any sermon. People feel it. They sense it when you walk into a room. They may not know your story, but they feel your presence. It says, "I've been there. I've walked through the fire, and there is life on the other side." You become a mirror, not of perfection, but of possibility. That's why others are drawn to you, not because you claim to have the answers, but because your life whispers that healing is possible. Your scars become maps, your energy becomes a compass, and sometimes, without even knowing it, you become the very person someone else needed to see, to believe they too can come out of the dark. But let's be clear, transformation is not a final destination. It's a path, an ongoing journey that requires deep surrender and daily trust. You will still have moments of fear. You will still face resistance. But now, you walk through it differently, with more grace, with more truth, with a heart that knows pain but no longer bows to it. And as your inner world continues to shift, something else begins to happen. Your energy changes. You begin to radiate light, not a light that demands attention, but one that draws people without words. Your transformation becomes the permission someone else needs to begin their own. And this is when your mission reaches its full potential. Not when you speak it, but when you become it. Have you noticed how people open up to you? How strangers feel safe in your presence? How others seem comforted just by being near you? That's not coincidence. That's resonance. It's your soul speaking to theirs. You are no longer just healing. You are healing others without even trying. But none of this could happen if you hadn't allowed yourself to break. And that's the beauty of it. You didn't avoid the pain. You faced it. You sat in the fire until it purified what was no longer needed. And now, because you chose to surrender instead of resist, your life carries power. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that moves mountains quietly. So if you're going through a deep shift right now, if your world feels like it's being undone, if your emotions are cycling through death and rebirth, if you feel the urge to help others even when you can't explain why, this is your sign. You are not falling apart. You are being reassembled, not to return to the person you were, but to rise into the guide you were always meant to become. You were chosen not just to heal yourself, but to carry the flame for those still searching for theirs. You were marked not for ease, but for elevation. And every part of your past is now the path that someone else will walk behind. So hold your head high. You're not just surviving. You're becoming the light others didn't know they were looking for. And as you walk forward in this mission of transformation, another sacred calling is waiting, one that asks you to not only transform others, but to become their spiritual anchor. The next chapter will reveal how your strength becomes shelter, and how your inner power becomes a safe place for souls in need. Long before you could name it, you felt it. That strange, silent sense that you were somehow different. Not better, not worse, just not like the others. While others played carelessly, your thoughts often drifted to deeper things. While others chased noise, you found meaning in silence. Even as a child, there was a quiet ache inside you, a whisper that said, "You don't belong to this world, not entirely." That feeling wasn't a flaw. It was your first sign. A spiritual fingerprint, etched by heaven, marking you as one of the few chosen to carry a light too powerful to be hidden. You see, the ones marked with the crescent moon, or the letter M, are never ordinary. They don't stumble into their purpose, they awaken into it. And that awakening begins not with grandeur, but with awareness. Deep, soul-level awareness. You begin to notice things others don't. You feel the room before anyone speaks. You sense the heaviness behind a smile. You know something is wrong before it's ever revealed. This is not imagination. This is spiritual intelligence, and it's been alive in you all along. Within you lives a compass that doesn't point north, it points inward. Your intuition is sharp. Your empathy, profound. Your energy doesn't just exist, it radiates. You've seen it happen. Someone sits beside you and suddenly feels calm. A friend breaks down in tears, not because you spoke, but because they finally felt seen. A stranger confides in you, drawn to something they can't explain. This is your power, not to control, but to comfort. Not to impress, but to illuminate. You are a sanctuary wrapped in skin, a lighthouse that stands not for show, but for those who are lost at sea. But don't mistake this power for ease. In fact, every ounce of your strength has been earned in the fire. Life has tested you not to break you, but to forge you. The betrayals, the losses, the nights of despair, they weren't punishments. They were sacred initiations. Each one stripped away what you didn't need, revealing who you truly are. And with every scar, your soul became stronger, wiser, softer. You didn't just survive, you evolved. This too is your training. Each trial was a sacred classroom, each tear a teacher. The pain refined you, not ruined you. And through it all, you learned to stand, not just tall, but steady. The stillness you now carry isn't weakness, it's weight. It's presence. And that presence becomes the very ground others stand on when their world begins to shake. But awakening your power is only the beginning. The real mission is learning how to use it. Power without direction can become pride. Sensitivity without discipline can become burnout. That's why now, more than ever, you're being called to spiritual mastery. This means knowing yourself deeply. It means facing your own shadows so you don't project them onto others. It means honoring your limits so you don't pour from an empty cup. And it means refusing to run from your calling just because it's heavy. Because it is heavy. To be a soul others lean on. To be the calm in the chaos, the wisdom in the noise, the strength in the storm. It's not easy. But you weren't chosen because it's easy. You were chosen because your light can handle the weight of the world without flickering. You were chosen because you don't just hold light, you become it. Quietly, constantly, courageously. So here's the question. Are you ready to stop dimming your power just to fit into places that were never meant to contain you? Are you ready to stop waiting for permission and start walking in purpose? The world doesn't need more noise. It needs your stillness. It needs your steady presence, your deep heart, your fierce softness. The world needs you to rise, not to dominate, but to anchor, not to lead loudly, but to shine quietly. You don't have to explain yourself anymore. You don't have to justify your knowing. You don't have to prove your worth. You simply have to be who God made you to be, a vessel of sacred strength, a safe place for tired souls, a reminder that peace is possible. Because when others are crumbling, you remain. And sometimes, that's the miracle they needed to believe in again. So if you've ever felt like your strength wasn't for you alone, if you've sensed that your pain had a purpose, if you've noticed your energy lifting others without effort, it's because you've reached this part of your journey. You've graduated from silence into stewardship. Your light is no longer just yours to carry. It's become a pillar for others to rest against. But there's more. Your awakening isn't just about becoming strong, it's about becoming contagious. Because when your soul is fully alive, it stirs something in those who are still sleeping. In the next chapter of your mission, we'll explore how your presence, your testimony, becomes the very spark that awakens others to their own divine purpose. Are you ready for that next step? You are not alone, and you never have been. Even when your hands were trembling, even when the silence felt unbearable, even when you whispered prayers that seemed unanswered, heaven was listening. There were angels standing guard, and Archangel Michael was already moving on your behalf. You didn't need a crowd. You didn't need validation. You only needed the mark, the crescent moon or the sacred letter M, because that alone was enough to declare who you are. This entire journey, the long nights of confusion, the tears no one saw, the battles no one understood, it all had meaning. Not punishment, not abandonment, but preparation. You were not being buried, you were being planted. And now the soil has broken, the shell has cracked. What has been hidden inside you, the light, the strength, the calling, can no longer stay dormant. The time for hiding has passed. This is not a season of waiting. This is the season of rising. You, who have always felt different. You who never quite fit into the mold. You who could sense things others couldn't explain. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to break patterns, to awaken sleeping spirits, to bring balance when the world trembles. And whether you realize it or not, your soul has already been marching, one silent step after another, toward a greater destiny. The army of light is not made up of those who shout the loudest. It's formed by those who endure in silence, love in chaos, and shine even when surrounded by darkness. So now I ask you, will you continue to pretend that these signs are coincidences? Will you keep brushing off the spiritual nudges, the dreams, the patterns, the divine timing that keeps finding you over and over again? Or will you choose today to say yes, not to perfection, but to purpose? Because the truth is, heaven is not asking you to be flawless. It is asking you to be available. The world doesn't need another influencer. It needs a light bearer, a warrior of peace, a lighthouse in the storm. And that's what you are. If this message has stirred something deep inside of you, if you felt your soul resonate as if someone had just spoken directly to your spirit, then this is your confirmation. You've heard the call. Now it's time to answer it. Declare it in the comments below by writing, "I accept the divine call." Let that sentence mark your decision, not just for this moment, but for the journey ahead. Let it be your way of saying, "I know who I am. I know what I carry, and I will no longer dim my light." And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. Not because it's another piece of content, but because this space is a sanctuary for those walking the narrow, sacred path. Every message here is created to strengthen you, remind you, and walk beside you. By subscribing, you're not just staying connected to the message, you're staying connected to your mission. Let this be your turning point. From this moment forward, you're not just someone who has seen the signs. You are someone who chose to follow them. You are not here to survive. You are here to lead, to protect, to heal, to awaken, to ignite the sacred fire in others who have forgotten who they are. So let us say it again, this time with the full weight of heaven behind it. The awakening has already begun. The battle is underway, and you, chosen one, have been summoned. Now the question is no longer if you are ready. The question is, will you rise? The choice is yours.